Um, you pretty much spoiled all my presentation. You gave all the buzzwords you still need for the fintech bingo. But before I actually get to the new company, I'm going to tell you what I've been doing in the last 5 years, because the last time I was okay, thanks. The last time I was standing on this stage was 6 years ago, when I was raising a seed capital for a company called Creditech. And basically our vision back in the days was to change the way scoring works or is done. We believe there's a lot better data sources out there, and it doesn't take paper and human beings to come up with a credit decision, but you can actually use data provided to automated decision making, and then learn on the data that is generated in the form of machine learning. So when we started this, the term fintech didn't really exist. It was called something different than e-commerce, and we were kind of the pioneers in explaining why people won't be going to a banking branch and how things are going to change. Over the 5 years, we raised 400 million in VC and venture debt capital, and at this point we are, the company is employing 400 people in 10 countries, and we just exited the company to a company called Naspers 2 weeks ago, and was one of the first and definitely biggest fintech exits in Germany. So after that, I traveled a little bit, and then I decided I don't want to kind of just chill around or do angel investments, but I actually found a new company, and I came up with something as creative as doing the same thing for the SME sector. And I'm going to tell you in the next 5 minutes how that works. The vision of Blackbill is kind of the similar thing in a different area, namely providing short-term capital through automated decision-making in the SME sector. And by SME, we mean this is not the kind of larger companies employing hundreds of people. We're really talking about the micro companies, freelancers, very small companies which make up the backbone of the economy. In fact, 99% of the economy is, by numbers, is such small companies. And more interestingly, these are the companies having the hardest time to acquire any term of financing or capital by banks. So if you're on the right side of the chart and you're a medium-sized company or even a blue-chip company, you have all the options in the world to raise capital. You can issue bonds, you can call your bank, whatever you want to do. But if you're on the other side, you're a profitable small company, you're a startup, you're constructing business. I'm not sure how many of you have actually tried to get capital from a bank. It's going to be a nightmare, because they're going to ask you for 3 audited profitable annual statements. They're going to ask you for a private liability. The process takes weeks, and at the end of the day, most likely you're going to get a no from the bank. So we believe this can be changed, and the way we do this is, in our current product, we do something that is called microfactoring. And basically what that means is, whenever somebody writes an invoice to another company, you usually have a payment term. So you have to wait anything between 10 to 90 or even 120 days before your invoice gets paid. This leaves you with a lot of liquidity tied up in unpaid invoices. And what we do is, if you upload an invoice to our platform, it's going to take a few minutes, and then you'll get a decision, which in most cases is a yes, and we'll pre-finance your invoice, which means you can use the money to refinance your business. It's fully tax deductible, so it doesn't really cut into your margin. And you can upload as many invoices as you want. So by this, you can smoothen your liquidity and cash flow, but you don't have to enter in a long-term, high-volume factoring contract that forces you to refinance your entire earnings. This is a market that doesn't really exist in Europe. So there's companies in the US that are doing this at pretty large scale, called Fundbox and Bluevine. In Europe, nobody's really doing this, and it's a very similar market phase to when we got started with Creditech, because the technology is there, the need is there, but nobody has kind of put the pieces together to solve this problem. We have started in Germany, but the vision is obviously bigger, and we're going to look to expand throughout Europe, not so much focusing on emerging markets as we did in Creditech, but pretty much going through developed Europe over time. Yeah, as I was saying, the current product is microfactoring, but we're kind of evolving this product into something that is even more flexible for the consumer. It's going to be a flexible credit line, so that means once we have scored you, you get a credit line, and that credit line is going to change in amount and cost depending on how good you behave. We call this karma credit, and it pretty much means if your invoices get paid on time, if you provide more data, you're going to get more money at cheaper terms. If you, get overdue for every invoice, you're still going to get money, but less money and at worse terms. So this is what we believe is going to drive the small businesses to actually achieve their growth and profitability in the most convenient and easiest way. We have launched in October last year with a lean startup type MVP. We're constantly kind of reiterating. We didn't take a year to build this, but we set up a smart product. It took us 2 months to launch with our partner bank, Solaris Bank. And then we kind of learned and are constantly iterating. We're going to see the 10,000th customers soon. We have seen over 25 million net invoice volume, and we have raised a seed round of 5.75 million by Point9 Capital, Red Alpine, DN Capital, and a lot of kind of credit tech friends and family management angels, etc. That means we're not looking. Sorry. That means we're not looking for money at this point. We're more looking for, and this is a perfect example, for any type of platform where invoices are either created or stored. So any kind of accounting tool, invoice creation tool. InFact is a Polish example. So InFact is on a massive scale in creating invoices, and we help them to enhance their revenue by not only having people pay, whatever, 40, 50 euros for an invoice software as a service tool, but we enable them to also benefit in the value of the invoices by having a seamless integration of users. Whenever they create an invoice or store an invoice, they get a real-time offer from us saying, you don't need to wait for this invoice to be paid. We can pay you out right on spot, and it doesn't take any paper or physical appearance. It all happens in a matter of seconds and fully online. Leah mentioned this in the beginning. We started with a company brand called Blackbill before we realized that Blackbill sounds very cool because it, gives kind of a connection to BlackRock and other companies. But in Germany, it means schwarze Rechnung, which raises some eyebrows if you want to be a trustworthy pre-financing company. In Germany, we had a brand called Bezahlt.de, which is nice but not very internationalizable. That's why we're rebranding into Finjata. Finjata is derived from the word piñata, which means you do a lot of hard work. You basically run around blindfolded and you smash a colorful unicorn, and then the candy comes out. We want to be the candy that comes out after the hard work that the freelancers and small companies provide in the form of, well, not candy, but liquidity. As I said, we're not looking for money, but we are looking for partnerships. We're looking for employers. And also, if you have a great fintech business, it might be interesting for me to invest personally. So if any one of the three applies, send me an email to sebastian@finjata.com. If you're an investor, we might reach out to you whenever we need the money in a year or two. That's it for now. Thanks.